Hi, I'm Elise and welcome to Which Way? Which Way? Which Way? First of all, I would like to thank everyone who has joined me on my journey and subscribed to my channel. There are many witchy films out there, so if you would like somewhere to start, here are my top 5 movie and top 5 TV series recommendations out of what I have watched in my first year of Which Way. Some I've already reviewed, but some I have not, and there were a whole bunch out there that just didn't make the cut. So stay tuned at the end of this video. I'll let you know what's happening with those. I have already mentioned The Craft as being my absolute favorite, so other than its mention here, it will not be included on my list. Though I did try and include a bit of everything, so hopefully something piques your interest. First up is The Love Witch. This is now one of my new favorite films. The Love Witch, Elaine, will literally kill for love, even if it wasn't her intent. Speaking of love, the love that Annabella put into the making of this film is evident, from its 60s, 70s vibes to its Wiccan rituals. It really is a beautiful film. If you want to know more about it, check out my Witch Lore review. Next up, we have The Changeover. Set in modern New Zealand, this creepy coming-of-age film follows the teenage Laura, who has to find her own power within herself to save her younger brother from a creature who is feeding off his youth. It's a beautiful film based off of the novel of the same name by Margaret May, so that's also worth checking out. Now, I couldn't have a top 5 list without including Hocus Pocus. I think this might be based off the nostalgia I hold for this film, but the Sanderson sisters are just so iconic, and it's the ultimate Halloween flick which needs no further introduction. But if you would like to know more about it, you can check out my Witch Lore review, which even includes everything that you can see inside the Sanderson sisters spellbook. Next up is We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Now, this isn't the witchiest one on the list, but I loved this adaptation of the Shirley Jackson novel of the same name. Mary Cat and her sister lock themselves away in their castle, content to live out their lives away from the gossiping townspeople. And Mary Cat carries out her spells and rituals to ensure their safety until something arrives to shake up their happy little lives. I loved the subtlety of her craft and the way you know that there's something not quite right up at Blackwood Castle. My final film on this list is Akalare, or Coven of Sisters. This film was stunning. I just loved the way that it portrayed the witch trials as they actually were and didn't try and put any truth behind the madness. The ending is what leaves me loving this film, and I won't say too much more about it. If you want to check out my Witch Lore review, I do recommend watching the film first before coming on back and seeing what inspired the film. Just like with all my reviews, I try not to spoil the ending so you can still go and enjoy the film. Now, with all of the amazing films I discovered, there was also a couple of hours of my life that I will never get back. Next up are some films that are just not even worth the watch. First up is Pungo, A Witch's Tale. It takes inspiration from the real life tale of Grace Sherwood and tries and fails to mix it with science and terrible CGI. Next up is Little Witches. I've mentioned this film before. It tries real hard to be The Craft. We have a bunch of naked Catholic school girls who start messing around with magic and people end up dead. They tried real hard to make this actress look like Veruza Balk. Up next is The Witches of Blackwood, also known as The Unlit. It's an Australian horror where the protagonist Claire returns to her hometown where there's something creepy going on. It's witches, but I still don't know why, or where they came from, or who they are, which is a shame because it's an Australian film, so I really wanted to like it. But back to some more enjoyable viewing. If you need something binge-worthy, then here are my top TV recommendations. I have reviewed all of these already, so I will keep it brief. First up is American Horror Story Coven. It's hard not to love this one, even though it's pretty much a sorority for witches, which is fine by me. It takes inspiration from real world people and events such as Marie Laveau and of course, the Salem witch trials. I adore every character in this series. Next up, we have A Discovery of Witches. This series follows the historian and witch Diana, who is trying to unlock the secrets of a centuries-old manuscript. Now, I've only reviewed season 1 so far, but season 2 I have watched. It's out already, and there will be a review of that coming soon. And it looks like 2022 will bring the conclusion of this series with season 3. So maybe read the books in the meantime, which are highly recommended. Next up is Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I fought with myself a little bit to put this one on the list or not, but the kitschiness of this film is so fun. It won me over, and it's beautifully filmed, a very timeless piece, so much witch lore, and very likable characters, though because of it being wrapped up so soon, I did not like the ending. Nick deserved better. Not a great way to wrap up the series. But I still put it on there anyway, I love it. Next up though is Lunanera. My review for this is getting a lot of love, so thank you for that. It's the only historical series on my list, and the characters are stunning, especially the main character Addie, whose story arc is amazing, but I want to know what happens next. Unfortunately, there is still no word of this being renewed for a second season, but we can still keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. And finally, I'm going to be a bit cheeky here and put the Fear Street trilogy under my TV recommendations, as it was released almost like a mini-series. In 1994, Dina and her friends have to track a witch's curse all the way back to its beginnings in 1666. I love a good slasher, and these are definitely binge-worthy. Now, I found a lot of the films that I watched just didn't contain enough witch lore or were a bit witch adjacent, but I still want to let you know everything I'm watching. So I'm going to start doing a monthly Witch Watch wrap up, so stay tuned for those. Until then, I've compiled a list of everything I've watched this year. Some of them are still to be reviewed, so keep an eye out for those. And let me know what your favorites are and your recommendations of what to watch in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and let's wrap up this wrap up with everything I've watched in my first year of Witch Way.